I'm Ty Higgins from the Ohio AgNet, and over the past couple of weeks you've probably heard a lot about the Farm Bill and not enough at the same time. So today we just want to kind of sit down with you here at the kitchen table and talk to you about some of the options you might have and what direction you think you might take here for the next 5 years. There are a lot of people out there with information. We thought it would be nice to meet a farmer here in Morrow County, Anthony Bush, that has also been on the ground level of forming this Farm Bill and some of the policies, and really a behind-the-scenes look as he got a couple of years in Washington as to how this all came together. And Anthony, first of all, thank you for being with us here. Tell me how you got started with getting on that ground level of developing this Farm Bill.
It all started several years ago at the Muirfield Golf Tournament, of all places. I met Tad Nicholson there and another guy, Dwayne Seekman, and they invited me to become part of the Ohio Corn Growers, and I got into that, and I really enjoyed it. You know, I'm a fourth generation family farmer here in Morrow County, number 5 on their way up, and you know, it's just something I'm very passionate about, and I believe that we as farmers need to be at the table, or we're going to be on the menu in many things, and the Farm Bill is one area of politics that interests me, and just something that I thought I could be good at and make a little bit of a difference. As
you have seen this Farm Bill develop over the years, I have to imagine that you knew some of the questions that were going to be coming from producers around Ohio and the country as the policy came together.
We sure did. You know, our different state organizations throughout the National Corn Growers, and as well as ourselves here in Ohio, did surveys as to try to find out what our producers really liked in the Farm Bill, what they didn't like, what they wanted to see changed. And the one thing that we really found out was, you know, people, they kind of liked the concept of the acre program, but it was too complicated and they wanted it simplified. So we set out to simplify it. The corn growers produced a plan that I felt was excellent, and we handed it to the politicians, and, you know, a lot of political infighting and different differences of opinion across regions and different crops, and that led us to, you know, different budget constraints too, and, you know, trillions of dollars in deficit, and things get tight. So therefore, the end product that became our 2014 Farm Bill was a very hard-fought piece of legislation, and in the end, I think we did the very best we could with what we had to work with all the differences of opinion, different regions and different crops, and overall I'd have to say I'm pretty proud of it.
There are 4 options to choose from in the 2014 Farm Bill, and Anthony, kind of give us an overview of what farmers will have a chance to choose from.
Well, one of the first options would be the Ark County program. Ark County is some called it a shallow loss program. It's a top end. It's going to pay on the top end of your losses. Some may call it a deductible between what, say, 75% insurance coverage and that 100%. Ark County pays from 86 to 76%. So it's kind of a top end shallow loss program. Then the next one would be the Ark Individual. Ark Individual is basically a whole farm type program. So once you sign up into that, that is your only choice. One of the things to note about Ark Individual, in difference to Ark County, is Ark County pays on 85% of your base acres. Ark Individual pays on 65% of your base acres. That is done just because it's closer to the farm. Your chances of payments are more frequent, so therefore they had to reduce that to a different number. Second or third choice would be the price loss coverage, PLC. This is pretty much just an old-time target price program that farmers should be fairly familiar with from the 80s. It is the default program, so if you can't decide what one, or if you have multiple landowners, multiple operators, then you can't make a decision, then this becomes your default option. It is something that would pay in terms of long-term years in a row of low prices.
And there's a fourth option that probably won't be used in Ohio, but we want to mention it just to give you a little bit of background, and that's SCO.
Yeah, now the SCO program was pretty much designed to fit the southern crops, rice, peanuts, crops like that in the South mostly. It is an area-wide or a county-wide insurance product, and one important thing to note on that is you cannot sign up for the SCO unless you are enrolled in the PLC program. You are not eligible if you're in either one of the ARC programs. So you have to be enrolled in PLC, and one other stipulation to the SCO is you have to purchase an underlying crop insurance plan.
We've mentioned this is a 5-year decision that farmers will have to make here before the middle of March. We don't know what's going to happen in the markets next week, and so talk about some scenarios of why a farmer might think about choosing PLC, for instance.
PLC would be Dr. Zuloff from Ohio State likes to talk about the different types of risk that each one of these programs manage. And PLC is a program that would manage long-term low prices, like we had in the 80s and early 90s. That would be the benefit of that program. The ARC County program, like I said, more of a shallow loss type program. If you believe corn's going to trade in the 350 to 450 range, then you're going to be above those target prices set in the PLC, and therefore your chances of a payment would be much better.
Anthony, one of the options is ARC Individual, and there's going to be a little bit more legwork on the farmer's part if they want to go in that direction.
Yeah, ARC Individual is going to require, very similar to, it won't be too much if you've already got crop insurance and everything, but you're going to have to be able to take your yields into FSA and prove them. They're not going to make you bring settlement sheets in there, but you would be subject to audit. If you were audited, you would have to actually produce scale tickets and settlement sheets to prove your yields.
Don't want to get too far into the weeds here, but there is one new thing that farmers will have to be thinking about as well, and that is base acres as they come about finding which program is right for them. Talk about that, a little bit more of a technical aspect to the Farm Bill.
Yeah, this is the first time we've ever had the opportunity to update our base acres. It goes from 2009 up through 2013. So if your cropping patterns have changed over that time frame, you can reallocate those base acres. Now, you can't gain base acres, but you can reallocate within your total farm base to more accurately reflect your current cropping pattern.
Now, there are a lot of things to think about as we go over these programs with Anthony Bush here in Morrow County about the Farm Bill options. There are a lot of things that farmers can do between now and the time to make their decisions to kind of make those numbers work. Talk about what a guy should be doing here as we end up 2014 and begin 2015 to kind of see where he might be able to fit in.
Something different that happened in this Farm Bill other than previous Farm Bills is the government actually put some money into the program to train the FSA county committees or county staffs, and gave them money to hold some meetings and everything so that they could educate producers. And then they also spent some money to develop some decision-making tools, one of them being from the University of Illinois, which has a lot of Ohio ties to it, with Gary Schnitke and Bruce Sherrick and Carl Zuloff and many other groups that had a lot to do with it, with helping develop this calculator. And it is an excellent piece, and I highly recommend. There's so much information out there right now through the universities that you just take a little bit of time and familiarize yourself with the programs and make an informed decision, because everything you need to make that decision is out there and readily available.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I do want to ask you, as a farmer here in Morrow County, you know the ins and outs of all 4 of these programs. What direction do you think you might take?
Being so heavily involved in the process of creating these things over the years, I've kind of had a pretty good chance to study it, and based upon the information that I have today and what I've seen, I will go with ARC County on my corn and soybeans. I don't believe that we're going to be in price scenarios. This advice is worth exactly what you paid for it, by the way. So I think on wheat is a different story. The global economics of wheat, we have a glut of wheat across the entire world. So I believe I will be going with PLC on my wheat and ARC County on my corn and soybeans.
Great information on a very important decision coming up here early 2015 for farmers all across Ohio and the U.S. The Farm Bill options you have for the next 5 years. Anthony Bush from Morrow County, a farmer and one who knows a lot of stuff about what you need to know here in the next couple of months, the 2014 Farm Bill. For the Ohio AgNet, I'm Ty Higgins. We'll see you down the road.